Greetings all you Metamaniacs, I'm T-Money G, and today we're going to showcase good old Maurice's Han heavy Qi'ra-led Traya killing squad. A top-tier leader has snuck in under our noses by the name of Qi'ra. Her leadership is becoming one of the very best in the game due to our deep pool of available scoundrels, as well as the boosts the faction gets in a territory wars environment. Today we will be showcasing one unorthodox scoundrel comp, but the possibilities are endless. From Mustache Lando to Stormtrooper Han, brush the dust off your scoundrels and strap in, because I've got a very good feeling about this. This team is based off the bonuses the various scoundrels get under Qi'ra lead. This particular compilation focuses on characters with turn meter manipulation and passive critical chance bonuses to limit the number of buffs when fighting a Traya-led team. There are two essential characters, Qi'ra, who is lead, and Nest. Add in a speedy scoundrel with an AoE attack to pair with Qi'ra's stagger, and then additional damage dealers or tunes with turn meter manipulation, and you have your squad. Though it can be a struggle in Arena versus Traya if not modded correctly, this team is particularly effective in territory wars against Traya due to the massive boost in critical chance given to scoundrels. Now let's start delving into the team. The first character we will talk about, and the one that needs to be lightning quick on your team, is Nest. You'll want to ensure she goes first. A speed set is mandatory, and you'll want to focus on speed secondaries. Potency is the preferred choice as an additional set, but the faster your Nest, the more versatile this team. If a mix-matched secondary set nets you higher base speed, that's the optimal choice. Favor offensive stats and potency for additional secondary stats. If you miss that Days on Nihilus, your win percentage plummets. The indestructible, health-oriented Nest build is a fun one, but it is not necessary for this team. Here, speed and potency are key.
The second of the three key elements is our leading lady, and second in the turn order, Qi'ra. Her lead and Zeta Unique grant scoundrels absurd amounts of benefits rivaling Number Crunch as the very best passive squad enhancement in the entire game. If you're unfamiliar with Qi'ra, let's paint out the benefits your scoundrels receive in a TW environment. 20% crit chance from her lead, and 20% from the TW scoundrel bonus equals 40%. Yes, negating the crit avoidance a Traya lead provides. 10% protection regeneration when a scoundrel crits, a maximum of 30% offense for attackers, 60% crit avoidance for tanks, and 60 speed for support or healer roles. 20% potency if the target isn't debuffed, or 15% crit damage if they are. Bounty Hunters receive all of this, plus their TW-specific buff that includes 15% stacking crit damage and also a self-cleanse when they crit. You'll want her as fast as possible to follow up Nest with her AoE stagger, however only one speed faster than the next character we will discuss. Mod sets include a speed set and then your choice of crit chance, health, or a potency set. The bulk of her damage comes from health percentage based damage, and a large chunk of her offensive ceiling comes at Gear 12. She's a relatively squishy character, so she benefits more from survivability than offense in this particular comp, for now. The third mandatory element is any scoundrel with an area of effect attack. There are quite a few options here, but only two that are realistic to clock one speed slower than Qi'ra. Why is this so important? You want this character to deliver their AoE immediately following Qi'ra to remove 100% turn meter from all the staggered enemies. Boba Fett is your first option, an AoE that delivers damage over time and ability block with a 2-turn ability block on the target enemy. A nuke type special that can deliver massive damage, potentially one-shotting a character, and then he's always got the get out of jail free card with Bounty Hunter's Resolve. On paper, he is the preferred, better choice indeed. However, Boba Fett is an extremely valuable component for other TW teams. The character we use and recommend is a character that you may not have a home for, Veteran Smuggler Han. As with the entire Scoundrel faction, Qi'ra brings him from an average character to rockstar status for the purpose of this comp. He brings an AoE with an 80% ability block chance, stunning the target for one turn, additional stagger component on his basic, and then a passive 25% crit chance. When modding, you want him to be exactly one speed slower than Qi'ra. Mod sets are the same, but with an offensive-minded secondary stat scheme. Crit damage on the triangle is preferred. His stacking defense mechanic paired with his 70% health steal keeps him standing.
Now onto Stormtrooper Han. This team is a stall comp, meaning it prevents the other team from starting their attacks and stalls them if they get going at all. Stormtrooper Han is so useful on this team due to his significant turn meter manipulation. At the start of each turn, he has a 25% chance to remove 30% turn meter. and whenever he is damaged, he has a 25% chance to remove 10% turn meter. Additionally, when he taunts, he grants his allies 30% turn meter. While his speed is totally dependent on the rest of your allies' speed, a good safe bet is to clock him no lower than 100 speed behind Nest. The faster he is, the less turn meter gain will be wasted, and the faster your characters get to take their second turn. When clocked properly, and with a little luck on the staggers, you should get 2 turns to open the match before the other team starts. Finally, the 5th spot is wide open, and Qi'ra brings out the best in any Scoundrel to fill this role. As we mentioned before, if you're building this team to counter Traya, your options are sparse. The 25% passive crit chance on Vet Han is important, because he's buff without giving himself a physical buff. When facing Traya, you get your offense decreased by 50% when you receive a buff, and you are already at a disadvantage trying to overcome the 40% crit avoidance she provides as part of her leadership. This is why Qi'ra's health steal up should be the only buff being tossed around, as with it your team can survive the offensive downtime. You can't afford any more, so the search for characters that passively buff their crit chance without buffing themselves yields the following 2 options.
The first and best option was a character we did not have at the time of this video, the recently reworked Cad Bane. We mentioned Qi'ra giving stacking speed to support characters, and Cad Bane is surprisingly labeled support. He has a passive 30% crit chance and crit damage element in his unique, with a health and protection regeneration element tacked on. Under Qi'ra, in TW, he has a 70% crit chance from the passive buffs alone, and because of his bounty hunter tag receives stacking crit damage and self-cleanses on a crit. He double taps, meaning he gets to 60 speed and stacks his crit damage quickly, while granting himself 15% turn meter for each critical basic attack, and flips a coin to reduce his own cooldowns. What exactly are you cooling down? A stun that dispels, removes max protection, and removes 50% turn meter. That's nasty. The second option is Han Solo. We know him, we love him, and yes, he's the unintentional 3rd Han Solo in this team. Cad Bane is the ideal fit, but Raid Han brings immediate burst damage without having to wait on stacking mechanics, and a first turn stun to neutralize an opposing character. In a situation where the opposing Traya team includes a Nest, he becomes the preferred option. The turn meter removal mechanic on his basic follows the trend of eliminating enemy turns. He also has the passive crit chance of 20%, giving him 60% crit chance under Qi'ra in TW. But this one comes with a counter chance as well. The damage is nice from the counter, but against Traya, countering removes massive health, so you want to mod appropriately. His kit does include a squad-wide buff, never tell me the odds, and you will want to avoid using this at all costs against Traya elites. Both of these characters have similar mod loadouts. Crit damage set with crit damage on the triangle. If you have the pieces on at gear 12 and some decent health secondaries, you can afford an offensive primary on the cross mod. Slower builds are okay, and remember Qi'ra has a targetable assist, so they will get their turns. If you're building this team to specifically counter Traya, excessive crit chance isn't the end of the world. For other scenarios, if your crit chance is hovering around 100% post passives, go with a health set.
I'm Team Money G, and the other voice you heard was good ol' Maurice, and we are both part of Operation Metaverse. We invite you to share this video with your guild and in your favorite chat rooms. We have a ton of content planned that you will not want to miss, so like and subscribe to get updates when more videos are released.